I love talking about all of this repurposed medicine and what it's starting to look like is an intentional overlooking, ignoring the obvious remedies and the benefits of repurposed medicine and the battle against disease. For the purpose of this broadcast, it's cancer. The repurposed medicine that I'm referring to is a fenbendazole based cocktail that I call my cancer cocktail, consisting of five ingredients. That's those five ingredients have been proven scientifically through medical research, and they have specific benefits in the role of destroying disease. It's clinically proven. So the published studies are all actually posted in my Facebook featured group page, Beating Cancer Today. All these ingredients have been clinically tested. It's been proven by major cancer institutions, not some fly by night institution or whatever. Major cancer institutions have done studies on all of these ingredients, and they've all been proven and with published studies to have a positive effect against destroying disease. The five ingredients in my cocktail are fenbendazole. That's the anti-parasitic. That's the main ingredient. Fenbendazole, curcumin, AHCC, which is active hexose correlated compound, a collection of mushrooms, if you will. Cimetidine, which is the active ingredient in an acid reducer Tagamet. Annatto, which is just vitamin E. It's the good parts of vitamin E. Those are my five ingredients. Nothing magical, nothing crazy, and everything has been clinically proven to be effective in the destruction of the disease. Folks, I'm not a doctor. I have no medical background. I have no education in science or anything pertaining to pharmaceuticals or biology. I'm just a United States Marine who was diagnosed with stage 4 colorectal cancer. And I was sent home. I was sent home to die after 3 years of all the options were exhausted. Everything from Western medicine that they could throw at me had failed me. That narrative didn't sit well with me. So I changed the narrative. I changed the narrative and I found this repurposed medicine so I could control the outcome. The world is filled with liars, propagandists, and con artists. Your ability to cipher through all that, cipher through all the negative and focus only on the part that will directly play a major part in your battle when you're trying to fight cancer. Negativity will kill you. It consumes your thoughts. It destroys you. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. It's like it creates a toxic environment for your body, and it'll immediately remove you from the battle. As soon as the negative has an impact on you and you change your tempo, oh man, it just takes your head out of the game, man. Takes you right out of the battle. In that moment of negativity, your head is out of the game. Your eyes are off the ball. You're sparring with your gloves down, exposing your glass chin. In that moment of negativity, you become more vulnerable mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, compromises it all. And you certainly are not doing yourself any good in your battle against cancer. Turn off the news. Turn it off. It doesn't provide any useful information that you could depend on anyway. Nothing that's accurate. I don't care what channel or what news station or it doesn't even matter. Politics, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care what your channel is. It's all bullshit propaganda. I'm sorry. Sorry to be so bold, but it is. It's all just lies. It's how they steer the narrative. It's how everything is steered in this world is through media. So turn it off. This is what you need to know. I'll tell you what. This is what you need to know. Everything is poison. Everything is poison, and it's all going to kill you. It's you against the world, baby. It's you against you. The world doesn't matter. It's you against you. The world doesn't matter. And that's what you need to know. Okay. Everything else is poison. And, nobody's coming. That's what you need to know. Nobody's coming to your rescue. This is you against you. The world doesn't matter. Everything going on globally, it doesn't matter. Nobody's coming to get you. Nobody's coming to rescue you. This is your game. This is your cross to bear. Get out of bed. Get out of bed, get off the couch and do something. Change the narrative so you can control the outcome. I can't say it enough. I won't stop. Motion creates emotion. The more you move around, the more your blood circulates in your body, and you're ready to face every day as a battle. Be your own advocate, question everything that Western medicine throws your way, for sure. But don't ever turn your nose up. Don't turn your nose up at a potential resolution, regardless of how ridiculous it sounds, because we're taking horse medicine here. So you should never really turn your nose up at anything, because who thought we would have been here? Get rid of the negativity. Just turn it off. My dog, Jimmy, he's never negative. Unconditional and pure love. That's what we need to get back to. As the only person that really knows that is Jimmy, my dog. So you heard me mention in previous episodes that the way you react to things will dictate the journey that you embark on. You are the captain of your own ship. So how you react to things is really going to dictate how you steer that ship. So sometimes we need to think like several steps ahead, like 3 or 4 steps ahead before deciding what our reaction is going to be. That's to avoid reacting the wrong way to something. Knee jerk reaction, I think they call it, right? That was my playbook right there. However, what I found is a better way to do it, and it's more fluid this way, would be to change the way you think about something, right? If you change the way you think, or even in theory or conceptually how you think about something, that will organically produce the correct reaction for that situation. So instead of thinking along the lines of being taxed by something, or a better way of thinking about something that is taxing on you, is it create a way of thinking where you are looking at it as an opportunity was created with everything negative that's presented. So turning a negative into an opportunity, and it's an opportunity that you otherwise wouldn't have had. Like I don't have to mow the lawn today. I get to mow the lawn today. Now I get to mow the lawn. I don't have to. I get to do it. God created opportunities in my life. And those opportunities, one of them is allowing me the opportunity to mow the lawn. Christ, what if things would have gone differently in my journey? And I, I wasn't exactly triumphant in my battle here, or at least not winning. If things would have gone differently, I would have, for a while, I didn't have the opportunity. I couldn't mow my lawn. I wasn't strong enough to mow my lawn. If things would have gone differently, I would have never had the opportunity. So I don't have to mow my lawn. I get to mow my lawn. That's the way I got to think about things. Your train of thought is a powerful locomotive. That's what kind of train it is. It's a powerful locomotive. It could be your worst enemy or your most powerful tool. My big objective when I started getting some energy was that I knew the importance of my building back a better version of myself. It, my goal was to grind so hard and commit with such discipline that I would eventually build myself back into such a better version of myself that people would never even know that I got sick. Shoot, in fact, for a long time, I didn't even tell anybody that I was sick. I was trying to I was trying to get ahead of it. So yesterday something happened, a pivotal moment in my journey, and it's only because I changed the way I think. The biggest validation, boy, I'll tell you what, it was the biggest validation so far to this day. The validation that all of my efforts that I've made, they've been paying off. And I received, I mean, this is beyond my clean scans and my no evidence of disease and my good Signatera test. It's beyond that. This is actual, like, in the world life, right? So I heard, like, the rumor mill came a knocking. So I heard that there was some gossip, like, in the community of some people said that uh, I never actually had cancer. That was just some rumors that were going all around, and I went along with it. And I was never actually sick. So I kind of like I looked at that like, man, this is like the best thing that I've heard. This is the best thing that I've heard. This is like a validation. Everything that I've been doing has been paying off because now people are saying I never actually even had cancer. I was just faking, or at least I just went along with a prank or something. I don't know what people were saying, but my wife, bless her heart. So I mean, I thought it was just comical, right? Because it's a little bit silly, and I mean, I got the scars to prove it. So what the fuck? Like I still have my port. Listen, it's just a silly thing. It's like a silly, absolute silly thing. So I didn't really pay too much attention to it, but my wife did. And I don't really, I try not to like really talk about her business or anything or whatever, but she did. She took offense to this, right? And my wife, bless her heart, for 3 straight uninterrupted years, she has walked by my side with me through this entire journey, holding my hand while I'm in pain. It didn't matter, wiping my tears when I was crying in desperation. I mean, I always put up a good front, but behind closed doors, boy, I break down to her. Clearing chunks of hair when I was going through chemo, clearing chunks of hair from the drain, wiping the puke off the toilet seat, or even stepping in it if I didn't make it to the toilet in time, cleaning off the defecation from my stomach and off of her bare hands when she was changing my ileostomy bag because I couldn't do it myself. The recovery from every single surgery that was uncertain I would survive in every round of chemo in 3 year span. uninterrupted. I remember looking into her eyes so many times just before we wheeled into surgery. Every time I'd look into her eyes and I could see the goodbye in her eyes. She was she did not think she would see me again. Certainly not warm. How much of your soul does that rip out every single time you part ways? She would check my breathing when I was sleeping. How much of that soul did it rip out of her? How many times could you discuss the important papers that I left in the safe for my end of life plan? Folks, I said it a million times. Cancer was a hell of a lot easier for me than it was for my wife, who had to watch it every day. Dying is the easiest thing you could do. That's why so many people are doing it. She immediately became irate because all the gossip and the poison and the haters and the shit talkers spewing throughout the boredom in their useless life. And out of complete confusion, I was giddy like a schoolgirl. I had no idea why she was so taken back by it. I asked her, why in the world would she be so upset about somebody frivolously dropping a collection of letters in a desperate attempt to form a sentence just to talk shit about me? Man, why would you get upset? They're just fulfilling their destination, or their destiny, rather. They're just fulfilling their destiny. They're put on this earth to be an asshole, and they're fulfilling their destiny. You can't, why are you going to get mad at that? But I forget that she went through a different thing that I went through. Her view was different than my view. People talk shit just all in an effort to avoid looking at themselves and the obvious discrepancies that that are within themselves. So I explained to her that this was the biggest compliment that anybody could have brought to my attention. It's a statement. It's a statement that clearly validates my effort, that shows the commitment of my execution, building back a better version of myself. That's all I ever wanted. I just wanted the time to be able to do it. And I found that time in this cancer cocktail: fenbendazole, cimetidine, AHCC, curcumin, and annatto. The 5 ingredient cocktail, the repurposed medicine that's readily available on Amazon.com or wherever on the World Wide Web. You can find it anywhere. So it's not like I reinvented the wheel. So you see, folks, sometimes God will build you back stronger and mightier right in front of the people that cut you loose. Now, I'm not saying that anybody wished ill upon me, because, God, I truly hope that I've never crossed anybody to that extent. But all I'm saying is that throughout my journey, some people have made less of an effort to hide their true colors. And at one point, actually, at my sickest point, I questioned a buddy of mine. I was like, hey, man, where you been? You've been ghosting me. And I really miss seeing you, bud. And initially he made like he kind of fumbled over himself trying to make excuses or whatever, and I called him out on it because he was that kind of guy. I'm comfortable, and you know what he the truest statement that probably which a lot of people think But this guy was bold enough to say it. He said, Kevin, I hadn't seen you in a minute and you looked really bad. And I didn't think I was going to see you again. He said, what was the return on my investment? What? I said, what do you mean? What was the return on your investment? He said, listen, I put a lot of, I really, I was kind of, I thought I knew what he was talking about, but I had to get him to elaborate. And he said, I, he said, listen, he said, if I take all of this time and I invest it into you, where's the reciprocity? What, I mean, if you don't live, you have no way of repaying the favor, right? So if I invest all my free time into hanging out with you and then you die, where's the reciprocity? Where is my return on investment? Wow. It was sobering to hear. But honestly, I kind of wondered how many people actually think that and just don't say it out loud. I put a lot of value into that statement because it fueled an internal flame that catapulted me into my first clean scan. So, needless to say, some people you just got to cut loose to avoid any negative impact on your life, right? And certainly on your course to getting healthy and finding peace in your day. Some people you got to cut loose. Shit, most of the people that I've cut out of my life handed me the scissors to do the cutting. So I'm a little bit torn because of some exposure to the world. I try to avoid the world events, and I was exposed to a little bit that was in the world that I'd rather it doesn't affect me directly. So I try to avoid that negativity, you know. But needless to say, I got infected by the poor decisions of humanity. I'm aware of the world events and stuff going on in the Middle East, and I was trying to avoid knowing the details of it, putting us on the cusp of World War III. I've said in the past that I've been trying to understand more spiritual interpretations. So funny, this is going on in Jerusalem, Egypt, Israel. So it, it's kind of biblical, right? So I've been trying to understand more about interpretations, and in doing so, I have a lot of biblical conversations with other people about that are on the same course as me. Although I wasn't up to the current events, my buddy had brought to my attention that a Bible verse seemed to be outlined in the direction that the world is going. And after I read it, it kind of reminded me a lot of like one of those episodes from The Simpsons, the cartoon shows that predict the future that you always see, like they predict the future so many years in advance or whatever, just through a cartoon. It's comical writing, I guess. But the Bible verse that I'm referring to kind of seemed to predict things, and it started at Zechariah 11 was the Bible verse. However, the build up to that verse was described like my interpretation of it was how the Middle East would experience the end of their existence. In fact, the then in Zechariah 11, I'll read it. It will be it will be inhibited, never again. It will be destroyed. Jerusalem will be secure. This is the plague in which the Lord will strike all their nations that fought against Jerusalem. This is key here. Their flesh will rot while they're sitting. I'm sorry. Their flesh will rot while they are still standing on their feet. Their eyes will rot in their sockets, and their tongues will rot in their mouths. On that day, people will be stricken by the Lord with great panic. They will seize each other by the hand and attack one another. So, yeah, I even have trouble reading scripture instead of interpreting scripture, right? But my interpretation of that, the only thing that I'm familiar with, the only type of warfare that I'm familiar with that would illustrate somebody's quote, flesh rotting off their body while they're still standing on their feet, their eyes rotting and falling out of their sockets, their tongues rotting in their mouth as they stand before you. The only type of warfare I'm familiar with that's capable of doing that would be somewhat of a nuclear reaction, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, folks. It makes you wonder what the hell we're doing as a human race. Turn off the noise. Turn off the noise, release the poison. Changing the narrative to control the outcome. You've heard me say it a million times. It applies to everything in life. So you may have to start self-isolating to avoid hearing all this toxic effect of the global theater that's going on. Maybe you self-isolate. For me, it was easy because the pandemic was happening while I was at my sickest point. Hopefully, in time, the rest of the world will realize that they need to start changing the narrative, behaving and reacting to things differently, and perhaps we can find some harmony again in the whole world. Maybe break things down. Just pump the brakes, dude. Jeez. Clean living with a change of lifestyle is one of the most important parts of your journey to better health and recovery. One of the most important parts. Clean living not only applies to your diet and the things that you do orally, like the things that you orally put in your mouth or digest, but it also applies to everything else you do, everything else that you enter in or allow to enter into your body through your ears or your eyes. Clean living means clean out all the shit and avoid toxicity of the world, especially when it doesn't have anything to do with you. What do those guys in the Middle East have anything to do with me battling this disease? Nothing. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. I don't need to hear the noise in the meantime. Please, folks, share this video and ask the people that you share it with to share it with their friends also. Trying to build this platform, spread this message to get it to somebody who really needs to hear it. Alternative medicine is real. Repurposed medicine is proven to fight disease. It's clinically tested by the same people that tell you chemo's the best way. Well, you know what? They're also whispering out the other side of their mouth because all this stuff was published by them. It's proven. It's clinically tried. Gotcha. Didn't think we were going to find out, I guess, but you know what? We're changing the narrative. I hope this podcast finds everybody well. I'll see you guys next week.